Everyone at Titanium Gym saw Mia Chen as just another quiet woman silently mopping the corridors, invisible and unremarkable. She had worked there for 6 years, and no one even bothered to make conversation with her. But tonight, when the 260-pound wrestler threatened her, everyone would learn who Mia really was. I wonder where you're watching this incredible story unfold from today. Whether you're in the bustling streets of New York, the quiet neighborhoods of Denver, the vibrant energy of Miami, or maybe you're viewing from across the globe in London, Tokyo, or Sydney. Wherever you are in this world, I'm sure you've witnessed someone being completely underestimated before. Perhaps you've seen that moment when assumptions crumble and truth emerges, but rarely does it happen as dramatically as what you're about to witness tonight at Titanium Gym. At 34, Mia Chen moved through Titanium Gym like a ghost. Her petite 5'4" frame seemed almost fragile compared to the towering bodybuilders and powerlifters who dominated the space. She wore simple black cleaning uniforms, her long black hair always pulled back in a practical ponytail, never drawing attention to herself. Her dark eyes, which once burned with the fire of competition, now stayed focused downward as she methodically cleaned equipment, wiped down mirrors and emptied trash bins. The members at Titanium Gym barely acknowledged her existence. To them, she was just the cleaning lady, someone who appeared after hours to make their workspace pristine for the next day's training sessions. They had no idea they were in the presence of greatness. What none of them knew was that Mia Chen was once the most feared judoka in Olympic competition. 12 years ago, she stood atop the podium in London, a gold medal around her neck, representing Team USA in the women's 63-kilogram judo division. Her signature technique, the uchimata, had become legendary among martial arts enthusiasts worldwide. Sports commentators called her the Silent Storm, a reference to her calm demeanor that exploded into devastating action on the mat. Mia's journey to Olympic glory hadn't been easy. Born to Chinese immigrant parents in San Francisco's Chinatown, she grew up in a small apartment above her family's struggling restaurant. Her father, Chen, had been a martial arts instructor in Beijing before immigrating to America with dreams of a better life. Those dreams seemed to crumble under the weight of 80-hour work weeks and barely breaking even month after month. But Wei never gave up on passing his knowledge to his daughter. Every morning before school, starting when Maya was just 6 years old, he would teach her the fundamentals of judo in the cramped space behind their restaurant. Maya, he would say in his accented English, judo is not about strength. It is about using your opponent's force against them. The willow bends but does not break. Those early morning sessions became the foundation of everything Maya would achieve. By age 12, she was dominating regional competitions. By 16, she was training with the national team. By 20, she was considered unbeatable. The 2012 Olympics in London were supposed to be her crowning achievement, and they were, until everything fell apart. The scandal broke 3 months after her Olympic victory. Allegations of performance-enhancing drug use surfaced, spread by a jealous teammate who had been cut from the Olympic squad. Despite multiple clean drug tests and character witnesses, the court of public opinion had already decided. The media firestorm was relentless. Sponsors dropped her contracts. The US Olympic Committee launched an investigation that dragged on for 2 years. Even though she was eventually cleared of all charges, the damage was irreversible. Her reputation was shattered. Her father, unable to bear the shame and stress, suffered a massive heart attack and died during the height of the controversy. Her mother, overwhelmed by grief and financial pressure, sold the restaurant and moved back to China. At 28, Maya found herself completely alone in America, Her Olympic dreams turned to ash, her family gone, her name associated with scandal rather than triumph. She legally changed her surname from Chen Martinez to simply Chen, hoping to escape the shadow of her former identity. The transition from Olympic champion to cleaning lady hadn't happened overnight. First, there were years of trying to rebuild her coaching career, only to have parents pull their children from her classes when they recognized her name. Then came the desperate months of taking any job that would pay the bills, waitressing, retail work, eventually settling into janitorial services because it allowed her to be invisible. Titanium Gym had hired her 6 years ago during their expansion into a 24-hour facility. The owner, Frank Morrison, needed someone reliable for the overnight cleaning shift. Maya's references were solid. She showed up on time, worked efficiently, and never caused problems. She was exactly what he was looking for. An employee who would do the job without drama. What Frank didn't know was that he had hired one of the greatest athletes in American Olympic history. Working at Titanium Gym was both torture and comfort for Mia. Every piece of equipment she cleaned reminded her of the training that had once consumed her life. The heavy bags hanging in the corner triggered memories of practicing throws with Olympic teammates. The rubber mats scattered throughout the gym were identical to those where she had perfected the techniques that made her a champion. But there was also peace in the routine. The gym was quiet during her shift from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. She could work without interruption, without judgment, without the weight of expectations. The repetitive motions of cleaning, spray, wipe, rinse, repeat, became a form of meditation that helped quiet the voices in her head that still whispered about what she had lost. The other employees at Titanium Gym treated Mia with the casual indifference reserved for service workers. The day shift trainers would nod politely when their paths crossed during shift changes, but never attempted conversation. The front desk staff learned her name only because it was required for scheduling. The maintenance supervisor, Carlos, was perhaps the closest thing she had to a workplace friend, occasionally sharing coffee during their overlap hours and asking about her weekend plans in the way people do when they're trying to be nice but don't really want detailed answers. The gym members were even more distant. Since Mia worked the night shift, she rarely encountered most of them, but on the rare occasions when she came in early for an afternoon shift or stayed late from a morning shift, the way members treated her was dismissive. "Excuse me, is this equipment clean?" they would ask, as if Mia's cleaning standards were suspect. "Could you wipe down those machines again?" they would demand, even when the equipment was obviously spotless. Worst of all were the times when she became invisible to their conversations. Members would discuss private financial deals, relationship problems, even illegal activities right in front of her, because to them, Mia was no different from a piece of furniture, present but irrelevant. This treatment stung Mia, but it was the price of staying afloat, to remain unnoticed, unjudged, unburdened by the weight of her past. Danny "Tank" Rodriguez was one of Titanium Gym's most problematic members. At 28 years old, weighing 260 pounds, Tank was a former collegiate wrestler whose university career had ended in a doping scandal before transitioning to MMA. His professional career had never taken off as expected. He was too slow, too predictable, too undisciplined. Now he fought in local tournaments and made aggressive ego displays at Titanium Gym. Tank had grown accustomed to using his physical size to his advantage in every situation. He would bully other members over equipment use, dominate social situations, and behave particularly inappropriately toward female staff members. He had first noticed Mia 3 weeks ago. He had seen her cleaning near the heavy weight section and immediately marked her as a target. "Hey, cleaning girl," he had said, loud enough for his friends to hear. "Do you know how to lift any of these weights? Or do you just walk around and wipe them down?" Mia had continued working without looking up. "I'm talking to you," Tank had insisted, raising his voice. "Maybe you need to learn some respect." But Mia had never responded. She had taken her cleaning cart and moved to another section. Tank had interpreted this silence as weakness. From that moment on, harassing Mia had become his favorite entertainment. Every gym visit, He would find Mia and try to talk to her. He would deliberately spill cleaning supplies, drip water on her while she cleaned, make crude comments to his friends about Mia's physical appearance. "Who does this girl think she is?" he would ask his friends loud enough for Mia to hear. "She doesn't belong here. Maybe she needs to find a more suitable place." Frank Morrison, the gym owner, was unaware of Tank's behavior. Tank was a profitable customer who paid his dues on time and purchased expensive personal training sessions with his friends. Tank's harassment mostly occurred during Mia's night shift, when management wasn't present. Other late-night training members who witnessed the situation didn't intervene. Tank's physical size and aggressive personality intimidated them. Besides, Mia was just a cleaning lady. Why should they risk themselves defending her? Mia had endured this harassment silently for 3 weeks. Every night, Tank would find a new way to humiliate her. As time passed, his behavior became increasingly bold. This Tuesday night, Tank was more aggressive than usual. He had lost an amateur MMA match that week and was taking his anger out on someone else. The gym was nearly empty, just Tank, 2 of his friends, and a few people doing weights in the back room. Mia was cleaning the dumbbell section when Tank approached. Look, the cleaning princess is here again," he said, with more hatred in his voice than usual. "I want to talk to you tonight." Mia didn't look up, continuing to spray. "I know you heard me," Tank said, moving closer. "You've been pretty rude lately. It's time you learn some respect." Mia put down the cleaning spray and tried to move to another area, but Tank blocked her path. "Where do you think you're going?" Tank stood in front of her, using all 260 pounds to intimidate. "I'm not done with you."
"Oh, now you decide to look at me?" Tank crossed his arms over his chest. "Too late. I think you think you're too good for this gym. Maybe I need to remind you of your place." Tank reached out and roughly touched Mia's shoulder. Until that moment, Mia had endured everything: humiliation, insults, being ignored. But physical contact was the line. Something that had been hidden for 12 years began to surface. "Take your hand off me," Mia said, her voice calm, but with something dangerous underneath, like a threatening current beneath the surface of water. Tank laughed. "Or what? Are you going to report me? Who's going to listen to you?" "I'm telling you for the last time," Mia said, her voice unchanged. "Take your hand off me." "Or what are you going to do?" Tank gripped harder. "You're just a little—" Tank couldn't finish his sentence. What happened in the next second was so fast that the other people in the gym needed several minutes to understand what they had seen. Mia grabbed Tank's wrist, turned her body, and launched him into the air with a perfect uchimata. The sound of Tank's 260-pound body hitting the hard floor filled the gym. But Mia wasn't finished yet. As Tank tried to get up in confusion, Mia took him into an armbar, locking Tank's arm at an angle over her shoulder. 12 years of judo training returned to her muscles, old reflexes awakening. "Don't move," Mia warned quietly, bending Tank's arm a little more. "I can break your arm in 3 seconds from this position." Tank's friends stood in shock. They couldn't understand how a 110-pound woman had just floored a 260-pound wrestler. "Help!" Tank screamed in pain. "This woman's crazy." "I'm not crazy," Mia replied calmly. "I'm just not staying silent anymore." One of Tank's friends took a step toward her, but Mia gave him a look, cold, calculating, professional. The man hesitated and stepped back. "I've worked here for 6 years, Mia spoke, still keeping Tank under control. "For 6 years, I've allowed people like you to humiliate me, insult me, treat me like I'm invisible, because I just wanted peace." Her voice began to rise, the anger she had accumulated for 12 years finally coming out. "But enough is enough. No one has the right to touch me." Just then, the gym's main door opened and Frank Morrison walked in.
He had come for the day's final checks and was shocked by the scene he encountered. "What's happening here?" he shouted. Mia released Tank and stood up. Tank writhed on the floor, rubbing his arm. "Frank," Tank spoke hoarsely, "this woman attacked me. She's crazy. Call the police." Frank looked at Mia in confusion. "Mia, is this true? Did you attack Tank?" Mia took a deep breath. 6 years of silence were ending. "Yes," she said simply, "and if he touches me again, I'll do it again." Frank couldn't believe it. "Mia, how? Tank is twice your size." "Size isn't everything," Mia replied. Then she paused, making an internal decision. "Frank, I need to tell you something, who I really am." Tank grumbled as he tried to get up with his friend's help. "This woman is completely insane. Check the security cameras." "The security cameras will be in my favor," Mia said calmly, "because Tank harassed me, made physical contact, and I only defended myself." Frank's face reddened. "Tank, is this true? Did you harass Mia?" She. Tank stuttered. "I've worked here for 6 years, Frank," Mia continued. "I've never caused problems. I've done my job quietly, but Tank has been systematically harassing me for 3 weeks. Tonight, he crossed a line." Frank looked angrily at Tank. "Is this true?" Tank's friends looked at each other uncomfortably. They couldn't lie, they had all seen how Tank harassed Mia. "But who does this woman think she is?" Tank shouted angrily. "She's just a cleaning lady. She has no right to floor me." "I'm not just a cleaning lady," Mia said quietly. Frank looked curiously. "What do you mean?" Mia took out her wallet and handed over an old, worn card. Frank took the card and read it. His eyes widened. This must be fake," Frank whispered. "What?" Tank grumbled. "What does that card say?" Frank showed the card to Tank. Tank's mouth fell open. The card read, "Mia Chen Martinez, USA Judo Team, 2012 Olympic gold medalist, women's 63 kg division." Everyone in the gym fell silent. "Impossible," Tank whispered. "She's just someone who cleans." "My name is Mia Chen," she said, pride in her voice for the first time in years. "I won the gold medal at the 2012 London Olympics. For 12 years I was considered one of the best judokas worldwide, and now it's time for bullies like you to learn that you can no longer harass me." The next morning, everything had changed at Titanium Gym. Tank's membership had been terminated, and Frank had warned him never to approach again. As other gym members heard Mia's story, their attitudes toward her completely changed. "My God, a real Olympic champion," said one of the trainers. "Why didn't you tell us?" Mia smiled, but it was a bitter smile, "because people make judgments about my past. I just wanted peace." Frank made Mia a special offer. "Mia, would you consider teaching judo classes here? Our members would be very interested." Mia thought about the offer for a long time. "Maybe," she said finally, "but I want to start with small steps." 3 months later, Mia was working both as a cleaning lady and as a weekend judo instructor. Her students were amazed by her, not just for her technical skill, but for her humility and patience. "Sensei, Mia," asked one of her young students, "why did you stay hidden for so long?" Mia took a deep breath. "Because sometimes life knocks us down," she said, "but real strength isn't in how we fall, it's in how we help others stand up after we get back up." The power dynamics in the gym had completely changed. No one looked down on Mia anymore. Even while cleaning, members approached her with respect, asking questions about her past and seeking advice. But for Mia, the most important change had occurred within her. For the first time in 12 years, she could live without hiding her identity. Her Olympic champion identity was no longer something to be ashamed of, but a legacy she carried with pride. A year later, Mia had become Titanium Gym's head judo instructor. She had quit cleaning, but at Frank's insistence, she still served as a consultant in gym management. Her presence had brought a different culture to the gym, one of respect, discipline, and the understanding that everyone was valuable. Tank's story had become legendary in the local MMA community. He was known as the guy who got floored by a 110-pound cleaning lady. He had been forced to move to another city. Students who came to Mia's judo school didn't just learn technique, they also received education about bullying, respect, and what real strength meant. True strength, Mia would tell her students, is not in the ability to crush others, but in the ability to lift them up. Judo teaches us that the strongest person is the one who uses their power to protect others. And every evening, after finishing her classes, Mia would walk through the same corridors where she once cleaned, but now with her head held high with pride. She had framed her Olympic gold medal at home, but her real prize was something more valuable: the freedom to live without hiding her identity. Sometimes the strongest people hide in the most unexpected places, and sometimes all it takes to reveal their strength is for someone to have the audacity to touch them. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe and join our Everyday Life Stories community. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments. We love hearing from our amazing viewers around the world. Mia's journey shows us that past failures don't define us. What really matters is how we rise after we fall, and how we use our experiences to help others find their own strength. True victory isn't always about winning medals or accolades. Sometimes it's about finding the courage to be yourself again. The quiet ones often carry the biggest secrets. The invisible ones often possess the greatest power. And sometimes the most extraordinary stories are hidden in the most ordinary places, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Remember, never underestimate anyone. You never know who might be hiding Olympic gold beneath their cleaning uniform.